Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Chris Arnold. As always, we are grateful that you take time to tune in with us. I'm going to start this podcast off with a question. I think this question, if you're driving in your car right now or doing whatever you're doing, it's going to make you stop and go, that's interesting. What would it look like if you could run your business, whether you wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, whatever your strategy is, do deals and never have to talk to a seller again? That's right. That's the question I'm asking. How in the world would it feel to be able to do real estate transactions just like you're doing now without having to talk to sellers? So that's what I got in store for you today. We're going to answer that question. You guys know that my mindset is always about coming in and trying to help you guys find the new blue ocean, the marketing strategies in which there are very few people sitting at the poker table. I've been doing real estate now for 15 years. And so I've been around the block, and I can remember days in which, we did direct mail and no one was really doing direct mail. Or you could do different marketing strategies like pay-per-click, things like that. Even SEO back in the day, there wasn't competition. But the problem with marketing is everyone starts to hear about it. Everyone begins to do it. And so you either stay with that strategy and you try to figure out how to work through the competition and play at an overcrowded poker table. Or you take my mindset and you're going to take the mindset of the two guys that I'm talking with today. And you go, hey, either I can fight it out in this red ocean over here with all of these other fish, or I'm going to swim away from the pack and I'm going to go find something over here in left field that no one's really taking a look at. That's true with radio. That's true with television. And that's true with what we're going to talk about today. And so stay tuned as we hop in. So first of all, I want to go ahead and welcome Paul Lizell and Trey Franklin to the show. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having us, Chris.
Really excited to have you on. So what we are talking today is really about what Paul Lizell, I'm going to say, has really cracked the code on, and that is buying properties via auction. But doing this in a way that is online, not old school, like when people used to go down to the court steps, but to be able to do this online from the comfort of your office. And Paul, at this point, how many states have you done deals in that are auction based? Of the 50
I bought 44 to 50 states.
So you've done 44 out of 50 states. And on average, about how many deals per year are you doing off auction yourself?
On average, 60 to 80 per year.
60 to 80 deals. So we're not talking about a marketing channel that's only going to produce a deal here and there. Paul's got his business, and this is the strongest arm of what he's doing. Now, Paul's a really seasoned guy. Paul, how long you been in the game, man?
Since 2001. So this is my 20th year in business.
Dang, man, you got in before I did. I got in 2005. You got me beat as the veteran on this podcast. So we want to talk about auction, but you guys know that the greatest value is to talk to a student, to talk to someone just like you that are listening, that knew nothing about auction, and really kind of break down their experience with the actual channel and let you guys kind of hear and see if it's a fit for you and something that you want to do. So that's why we have Trey Franklin on today, and we are going to break down Trey Franklin and his experience of utilizing the auction process now for the last couple years. Here's a cool fact. It's about 80% of his business right now. So that's a big deal. This is his main channel. So we're going to break that down. So Trey, buddy, let's start with just a quick snapshot. Like, where are you from? How long you've been in the game? So anyone that doesn't know Trey Franklin, who is Trey?
Yeah. So I'm based here in San Antonio, Texas. I've been real estate investing for about 4 years. Started fix and flipping. I did some creative, some crazy things as well. I've been doing the auction model for about 2 years now. It's for me, it's been great and definitely fits kind of what I'm looking to do moving forward.
Yeah. And I love that, because we're going to talk today specifically, and you guys hear me tell you this, it's so important. It's like dating. It's like marriage. That's how marketing channels work. You have to find the right fit for you. Just because someone as a particular person's a great fit as a spouse for this person, it doesn't mean that that person's going to be a fit for a person that has an entirely different personality. So I always tell you guys, if you hate what you're doing, If you're, again, cold calling and every day you wake up and the first thought when you roll out of bed is, oh my gosh, I got to pick up the phone and call someone, then stop doing it. If you love doing it and TTP is working for you, then continue to do it because it's a fit for you. So it's not that marketing channels are right or wrong. They all work. There's not a channel out there that I haven't seen somebody come in and really build an entire business off of. I don't care if it's bandit signs. I've seen people do it. But the point being is they've done it that way because they found something that fits them. And we're going to talk about that with Trey today as well. But Trey, before you were doing auctioning, like, just rattle off some of the things that you were trying to do that just really wasn't a good fit for you.
Man, I've done I've hired VAs for cold calling. I've done the text blasting. I've done direct mail. I've done local PPC. Kind of to your point, that I think, you got to find kind of what works for you, your situation, and your personality. And for me, I never had a sales background. I never worked in like a sales organization or anything like that. And so for me, like the biggest thing was like, the day-to-day grind of cold calling or texting and the follow-up game and all that. Sometimes I just wouldn't have time for it. And so a lot of things slip through the cracks. And when that's happening, you're kind of throwing away money at that point. And so back to the auctions is, I didn't have to, kind of, I think we'll probably get into it, but you can kind of turn it on and off as to fit your lifestyle. Before the auctions, I feel like I tried a little bit of everything, and I had some luck here and there. I'd get a deal or two here and there, but the amount of time and money that went into it,
just couldn't find the right fit, right? It's like,
didn't
deal here and there, but it's just not fitting right. It's like
exactly
going to the store and retail store. You're buying a suit and you're trying on jackets, and you're like, I can fit in this jacket, but man, as I'm looking at myself and kind of, moving around, I'm like, it just doesn't feel right.
Exactly.
I feel like that's how marketing comes across as well. So we're going to get into really why Trey chose auction and what he loves most about it. But before, I know a lot of you are listening like, what in the world is this auction thing? Like, I hadn't even heard of it. So Paul, give us just a quick snapshot of really the auction process that we're talking about. What does it mean to buy from the auction for someone that is new to real estate, might not even understand wholesaling? Like, just break it down at an elementary level real quickly. What is this process?
Absolutely. So we're really online auctions. A lot of people think of auctions, they think of going to the courthouse steps or going on site to where a property is on live auction locally. But this isn't that. So this is on auction.com, zone.com, Hubzoo. It's on Hudson and Marshall, HUD Home Store, Realty Bid, Auction Network. There's a bunch of different platforms out there. Basically, what you're doing is you're bidding live on an auction, different properties, and they usually break it up by areas, say Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, different days of the week, obviously, for each of these different auctions. And more or less, you're just bidding online. So you're doing your own research on these properties. You're using Zillow, you're using Redfin, Realty Track, Trulia, whatever different source you're comfortable with. You're coming up with numbers on them. And if there's an agent that's on this particular deal, because a lot of these are listed, some are, some aren't, you can contact them and get some pretty great information from them. So that's auctions in a nutshell. And you could do it from your bedroom, your home office. You could be wherever you want. You can do it from the beach. I bought deals on the beach and stole deals.
Can you do it from Tulum, Mexico?
You sure as heck can. And you can do it from the beach in Tulum. The beach in Tulum, you can do it.
Tulum, baby. It doesn't matter where you're at. Hey, man, that's where business is at. It's about freedom of location. Again, that might not be an important freedom, but to some of you guys right now, you're like, man, there are particular places around the world that I want to live. I live in a place in Tulum where people have lived in Bali, Panama, Costa Rica. So if you're that type of person, man, this is the thing that's going to fit that lifestyle. We call them the digital nomads. We need to kind of start calling people real estate nomads. That's not really a thing, but it needs to become, because that's where the digital world has gone. So for you real estate nomads out there, man, you can do this from anywhere in the world. So let's hop back over to you, Trey. Let's go through these 5 things. I think this first one is really important because some of you listening, right, are going to really resonate with that. And that's the fact that one of the main reasons that Trey chose this is because of his personality. So Trey, what type of personality do you have and why did this fit your personality?
I'd say I'm more of an introvert than anything, and kind of back to the other marketing channels. You're having to reach out and cold call and talk to strangers and things like that. And for this, you're mainly dealing with banks, and so it's mostly a numbers game. So you're just analyzing properties. If the numbers work, you bid on the property. The bank accepts it, and then you kind of go through the closing process. And so for me, it's just kind of it just fits.
You're not dealing with the emotion of sellers.
No,
Right?
there's no emotion involved. Yeah, it's all numbers
and banks.
Yeah.
It's like straight business. There's no emotion, and that fits your personality, right?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So, for some of you guys that are listening, I know, there's such a big spotlight put on extroverted personalities. The reality is there's a lot of people listening that have introverted personalities. And what I would tell you is there is a big advantage to that personality. I'll tell you that the majority of people that actually work for me are actually introverted, not extroverted, believe it or not. I find that there's a strategic advantage of that. If you're listening, there's a great book called the introvert advantage. And so might be something for you to pick up, because I think sometimes the extroverts just overshadow the introverted personality. But the reality is there's things out there that were built for you. And this is perfect for Trey. He can just get rid of the emotion, deal with the facts, deal with the bottom line. And that's a great fit for his brain and the way that he's wired. So let's go to number 2. Or did you have something you want to add to that, Trey?
Oh no, you said it correctly. And I'm also very analytical, and so you're essentially just crunching numbers. And so, again, just the model just fits what I enjoy doing.
Yeah. It's the analytical mindset. Trey's got that. He's got that. A lot of our students have that, Chris. So we get a lot of people that it's the numbers. The numbers will tell you if it's a deal or not. It's as simple as that.
So you're saying that your program's drawing in a lot more kind of analytical, introverted people. Is that right?
Absolutely. We got engineers, people that are engineers, a couple of them, believe it or not, people, and they get analysis paralysis, right? A lot of people that are engineers and have this number, they see the numbers, but they can't always act on it. So they want somebody a helping hand who are like, here's the numbers. Do these make sense? And we look at it. Yep. Makes sense. Run with this deal. Sometimes they just need that extra little nudge. And then once they get comfortable with it, they can run with it, and they're good to go for forever. Yeah. Like Trey was grabbing. Trey knew the numbers. He really knew them well and believed in himself. And we just confirmed on the first couple of deals for him. I mean, he did 4 deals his first month. He was hitting it out of the park right from jump.
Wow,
so
that's a
that mindset.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So Trey, let's go to number 2 here. Well, and we weren't kidding when we said at the top of the hour, you actually don't deal with sellers, and that's a real value to you. Why do you enjoy that fact, particularly with your personality? Again, I get the cold calling, that's not fun. You're not an extroverted personality, but why do you see value in not having to deal with sellers?
Well, I think it just, takes the emotional aspect out of the deal. So one of the ones I've done here locally was a mother dying, a son going to jail. They needed money for lawyers. And so, we ended up figuring out how to do that. But I just couldn't imagine doing that every day and hearing those stories. And, from a business perspective, it's, for me, the real estate thing is kind of a business. And so, if I don't have to, and I'm not comfortable dealing with those types of situations, I'd prefer not to. And so, I think that's a huge benefit to me, not dealing with those, like I said, those emotional components to property.
You remove the human element.
Right.
And I know, I gotta say this, I don't care if you're running a business or whatever, and you love people or not. I can tell you the most challenging part of running a team, running a business, doing sales or anything is dealing with humans. Humans, we just by nature, we are emotional beings, right? You just never predict what a human being is going to do. That's the world that we live in. So it's sometimes nice to be able to set up a little bit of a system in which you remove the human element out of it. And so for some of you listening right now, I know that this is like music to your ears. You're like, you got to be kidding me. This is actually something I've been looking for. So that's why I'm excited to share it with you guys today, because some of your personalities out there have not come across something like this. And you're like, man, this is awesome. So let's go to number 3. Again, we're talking about no competition, right? So I see this similar to radio as well. There's not only no competition, the fact that people aren't doing auctions, but the seller leads that are being produced, you're not having competition, right? You're not going up against 5 or 6 other wholesalers off a deal. Is that correct?
Right, exactly. Yeah, most of these houses that I've won and purchased are in pretty rural places. Small town, probably less than 15, 20,000 people. And so, once you kind of get a little bit seasoned in the auctions, you can tell most of the times that you're bidding against the actual auction companies who's trying to drive up the price a bit. So, if you can kind of tell what they're doing, you just you hit your number and you stop there and don't make any kind of emotional decisions to keep bidding up. And a lot of times I've lost the auction to the auctioneer, and then they come back the next day and say, well, you're now the highest bidder and you won the property. So, a lot of times you're not really bidding against anyone else. And so that's also obviously a nice aspect of it as well.
I agree. Paul, you want to talk a little bit about that? That's a big deal, not to feel like you're going to head with a ton of people, because one of the downfalls of that is it's going to come in and squeeze your profit margin. So is this true that you see with all of your students? They just really don't have a lot of competition via your auction program that you teach?
Absolutely. It's across the board. So we kind of teach a philosophy. It's a baseball philosophy. It's hit it where they aim, right? You don't want to, you can hit a line drive.
Use that. Hit it
right?
where they aim. That's great.
Hit it where they ain't. So if you hit a line drive, a screaming line drive to left field, but the left fielder is right there to catch it. Because think about it this way: you're doing a pay-per-click, or you're doing, let's say you're doing direct mail, and there's 10 direct mails that go to this particular person. So now you're fighting against 10 other people for this deal, compared to us in auctions where we're going into markets generally where we're bidding against nobody else other than a house, as Trey said there. So it's hit it where they ain't. It's go where they aren't. You want to go where the least amount of competition is. That's your best opportunities for the highest margins and easiest deals, to be honest with you. And I know sometimes you will take a little longer to sell the property because it's in a rural area and there are less buyers, but there are still buyers. They're active investors in these markets.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love that saying you said. It's just, I want you guys to pick that up today. Whether you do auction, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's not a fit for you, but I love this concept and this idea of, hit the ball where, how did you say it again? What was the phrase?
Hit it where they ain't is the old baseball saying.
I'm going to write it down. Hit it where they ain't. That's what we're trying to tell you guys philosophically with your marketing strategy. So I'm going above auction for a sec and just tell you, just get out of the competition that's out there on things that are saturated. So this is going to lead, Trey, to your fourth benefit that you enjoy. If there's no competition, then you have bigger margins, right, on these deals. You're getting deeper discounts. So on average, we like to say you want to try to buy a house around 70 cents on the dollar, somewhere in there. What are you on average picking deals up at the auction because you don't have competition?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, they're below 50% of ARV. Some of them are. I think I purchased a house in North Carolina that I picked up for 29. I think the ARV was in 140, I think. And I think the person I sold it to, I talked to them after, and they put 30 into it, so they made a pretty good chunk of change in the back end. So
that's 20 cents on the dollar. I just pulled out my calculator, by the way.
Yeah. So I mean, you can get some. They're not all like that. I've had some that are tighter margins, but yeah, you can find some really good stuff in there. And so, yeah, obviously it leads to, and then, if you're bringing some of these other local investors into it, they're willing to pay a little bit more or they want all of them that I've sold to. They, if you ever get anything again in this area, please let me know. Cause I'm selling them really good deals.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And again, you can, there's only a few ways to make more money, right? You can do more deals, you can make more per deal, or you can have people return and buy from you again and again. Jay Abraham will tell you that's really the only 3 ways to grow revenue. So why try to continue to do more and more deals when you can just make more deals, more money per deal? I'd rather do 10 deals, Paul, you agree, and make 20,000 per deal than to do 20 deals and make 10. What I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So let's go to the last thing. Again, Trey, you have a full-time job. So a lot of people listening right now, you might be hearing Trey and go, yeah, he's a full-time investor. I'm over here working 9 to 5, but you have a full-time job. Talk to us about that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in the construction industry, so I'm managing crews and on job sites, pretty much all day. And so, again, kind of this marketing strategy, if you want to call it a marketing strategy, you can turn it on and off and kind of make it work to where you're spending a couple hours a day, or a week. I'm sorry, a couple hours a week, doing this, and whether you want to do it part time or full time, you can do as much or as little as you want, which is nice.
So let's contrast this to direct mail, right? If you're working a 9 to 5 and you do direct mail, you know that you're getting calls while you're at the office, you're getting calls in the evenings and weekends. You can't compartmentalize it. The thing that I like about this program, Paul, is the fact that Trey can come in, he can compartmentalize his life, right? He can have his work time, which is his career. He can have his family time, and then he can have this side. I don't even want to call it a side hustle because you're doing a good amount of transactions, but you're able to really create a balance and keep those things separate. I know a lot of people feel like when they use a marketing channel, rather than it being like waffles, it feels like spaghetti. So if you're listening to Trey, his life is like a waffle. It's very compartmentalized. If you do something like direct mail, your life feels like spaghetti. It's just like everything's just intertwined and you can't separate. It's like you're just bouncing all day between everything you're responsible for. I don't know about you if you're listening, but I'm a compartmentalized guy. Like when I'm on, I'm on. And when I'm off, I'm off. And I'm not going to set up anything in my business that removes me from having a life that feels like a waffle. And always talking about waffles makes me want to waffle. And if somebody's listening, I'm curious how many people eat waffles today. You're like, that guy, Chris, man, I'm eating a waffle today because he kept saying it. It's funny how that is.
Chris, you're so right on that too. And you get into it, think about direct mail. And I shut off my direct mail in 2013. So it's been 8 years since I've done it, but you're at the beck and call of the seller. So the sellers always want to meet in the evenings and the weekends, and that's family time, right? For me, that's family time. I don't want to meet at the evenings and weekends if I don't have to. And then you go out there, right? You're driving 30 hours or 30 minutes in rush hour traffic, and they cancel last second because something came up. This happens repeatedly. It happened so many times it would just annoy the heck out of you. Then you're wasting your time and energy. Plus, on top of it, if you want to be a serious player, you're spending anywhere from $3 to $10 grand per month on marketing, right? So you're spending some serious money in marketing. And then you can't just go on vacation and not answer phone calls because you're losing potential deals and losing income there. With this, shut it off, go, turn it off. And that's why we have so many people that are full-time and part-time running their own businesses or working for a company and do this part-time as supplemental income.
I love it. Absolutely. So let me repeat these real quickly. It fits a personality. If you're introverted, again, if you're extroverted, it might be a great fit for you. Not saying it's introverted only, but it definitely works well with that personality. You don't have to deal with sellers. You're not dealing with competition. You're getting bigger margins and deeper discounts, and you can compartmentalize it. I mean, that's what Trey's saying. He's like, this is why I love this particular marketing channel. So let's go to some KPIs real quick, because I'm a numbers guy. So, hey, smells good, looks good, but give me some actual data and some numbers, right? So first is about how many hours a week are you spending on your auction program, Trey?
I'm spending about 3 to 4 hours a week. I usually will spend about 2 of those hours Monday night, just analyzing properties. And then Tuesdays are usually when the auction's in. So that's when you're actually on computer bidding. So another probably hour to 2 hours there on Tuesdays. Yeah.
And about how many deals a month is this leading to for you while you're working a 9 to 5?
Yeah, when inventory is normal and up, like Paul said, I did 4 my first month. Right now I'm probably one a month right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. If you're working a 9 to 5, that's honestly the sweet spot. Can you imagine, doing about a deal per month? Bring in, average deal around the US is about, let's say 10K on average. Again, depends on your market. For you out in Cali and New York, I hear you, bumping your chest already, knowing how big your deals are. I get jealous myself. But again, national average is somewhere around 10,000. So, I mean, think about that. Trey's bringing in 6 figures a year. I'm sure you don't Well, I'm going to get into that. Actually, I want to actually hold that question. So Trey's making about, over 6 figures per year off something that he's putting less than 5 hours a week. And again, he has to, do the deal. Obviously, there's that aspect, but we're talking specifically about the time he's putting into the channel itself to produce the deal. So I think that that's fantastic. So let's talk about return. I'm such a dollar per dollar return. Again, if you're tuning in and you're new to real estate, you're like, what in the world does that mean? Again, a KPI is a key performance indicator. That's just a fancy way of saying, what are the key metrics? Like, how do we measure this thing? So, when I talk about radio, I always say, hey, I can tell you that you're going to get about a 1 to 3 return. That means for every dollar you spend, you're going to get $3 back. So if you spend 10,000 on radio, you're going to get 30,000 back. So that's the best way to measure the performance of your actual marketing channel. And again, if you can maintain a $3 to $4 return, that's a great channel. Now, if you're getting more than that, great. And if somebody's coming to you and telling you they're getting more than that, then also know that I usually question that too. So 3 to 4 is about average. But again, if you're text blasting, I get it. There's no cost to that. You're probably making a pretty high return. But here's my question to you, Paul. When I asked you the dollar per dollar return, you didn't give me a number. You gave me a phrase. What did you say? There's not a dollar per dollar return. It's a what return?
Infinite return.
And why is it an infinite return?
Because you spend nothing. You have no dollars out. Your true dollars are your time and energy you put into researching these properties and the deals. That's it. You're not paying a penny for marketing. So you got zero marketing costs on this, which is awesome. I mean, I love it. That's my favorite part of it.
It was funny. You stole my question. I was going to ask you, but let's go back to that. So if you're a newbie right now, again, I remember when I got into real estate, I didn't have any money. I was straight out of grad school. I was completely broke. I, was eating ramen noodles. I had 3 roommates, right? And I started real estate and I didn't have any money for marketing. All I could do was spend time. And so 15 years ago, as I started as an agent, I started getting up early in the morning, calling expireds and FSBOs. That's how I did it. I don't call that cold calling. It was a little bit more warm calling because those people definitely needed to sell their property. But I know what that's like. In the beginning, I go back and I remember and I go, I just don't have money. But at 25 years old, not married, what are you doing at 25 years old when you graduate? You got all the time in the world. So if you're one of those people right now that's like, man, I just don't have a lot of cash. I just need to get some deals closed. Then I can transition over to the marketing piece and start to spend money. This might be that stepping stone for you. That's kind of a great thing about cold calling as well. I know that that's something, or text blasting. A lot of people are drawn to those systems simply because they don't cost a lot of money. And what Paul's telling you is like, it's an infinite return because it just costs you your time. Now, Paul, my brain automatically goes to, well, I don't want to spend time either. So I'm sure there's an option here to outsource this to some type of VA, right? For those that think at that level.
Yeah, we do that. So I used to have.
I'm sure you're not looking up properties every day.
Right. Exactly. So basically we give them a list of the properties that are coming up. Right now we have it down to the one VA. They spend about 10 hours a week doing a research for us because 1, she's got it dialed in, understands what we need to do. So she doesn't need to spend a lot of time. And 2, inventory is temporarily down right now. It's going to increase in the future. We'll talk about that later, and then I'll need to add her, increase her hours because there'll be more properties to analyze.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one great way to do it. So you don't even have to worry about your time and energy. You can spend $200 a month having somebody analyze deals for you.
Yeah. It's just like cold calling. If you don't want to do the dialing yourself, I know great people that have hired people to do the cold calling for them. So that's a great thing about business. You never have to be stuck doing anything if you learn to leverage and outsource by utilizing other people. So Paul, I want to close with just a couple questions for you directly. First of all, and you said it, but I want to make sure it was the real answer. What is your favorite thing about the process of buying from the auction personally for you?
For me personally, that I can do it right here from my home office, right? I can actually just sit here and bid and do my analyzing, make the phone call to talk to the agent, or I can do it from the beach. Actually, my favorite, so let's go back to what I said earlier. My favorite part is bidding on a beach and then selling a property on a beach, which I've done in years past. Get the property, win it at an auction, and I got other ones I'm selling, making phone calls or getting a return phone call from somebody while I'm sitting on a beach, and I close the deal and then just go dive in the ocean. That is my favorite part, that I could do it from anywhere. I mean, you could do real estate almost from anywhere now, but this makes it truly from anywhere.
Yeah, Absolutely, guys. And I want you guys to know how real that is. It's funny. I'm going to do a little side tangent, but I live in Tulum, and because of COVID, you got to remember how many people no longer have to go to an office. So I'm a part of this thing called Co-working Tulum. And literally the way it's structured is this company has come in, again, it's a digital nomad, brother and sister. And they've done this really cool thing that you pay to be a member, and every day, Monday through Friday, they negotiate a beach club that you can go sit at the beach and work. It's got great Wi-Fi. They're there to help you as an entrepreneur, and you show up with all of your entrepreneurial friends and you all work from the beach and go swim in the ocean. So I'm just telling you, like, this exists. I see this. I'm a part of this group. And like, how cool is that? Literally to just wake up every day and go work from a different, beach club on the beach. I mean, that is where things are headed. And I see it because I live in Tulum. So it's becoming the norm. And these are people doing, you name it. They're doing every type of industry that you can imagine. Some of them are 9 to 5 people. They just don't have to be in the office anymore. So why in the world would they stay in whatever state they were in when they could come down here? So I want to close with this really important question. And that is, what is your forecast, Paul? I mean, we just got out. I can't even say that. I don't know whatever your description is on where we're at in the COVID process, right? So that's right. To each own. But again, we have this COVID piece. We've come out of some of it. Where it's going, we don't know, but it has affected real estate is my point, right? Totally. So what do you think? And again, you have this whole idea of renters, right? And, them having rights and being protected, which is understandable. But then you have banks and you have, landlords that are pushing back, going, like there's this rustling going on when it comes to it. So what is your forecast of what's going to happen and how auctioning plays into this when it comes into foreclosures?
Well, since now we know the moratoriums was struck down by the Supreme Court again, and they can't move forward with it anymore on both foreclosures, which really only affected HUD, FHA and VA government backed mortgages, Fannie and Freddie, and also evictions. It's now going to open up all that inventory that's been locked up for, 2 years now, right? We're literally going on 2 years with that. So what I was told, we had Zoom on a coaching call a couple of months ago, and we asked them what their forecast was. And they said second quarter of 2022. So you start seeing it in March is what they're telling us, that we're going to start to see some increase, a pretty good increase, sizable increase in inventory. She said you'll see some coming in soon, but the bulk of it's going to come around then. And it'll probably come in a pretty big wave because there's going to be so much built up. Or I guess as quickly as the court system can do it.
There's a dam and that water is building up, and your forecast is at some point they've got to open the levee to that dam.
Yeah. And auction.com told me the same thing. They are expecting a huge amount. And they're the biggest player out there, auction.com. So they're expecting a massive amount. And I'm a licensed agent in Pennsylvania. I don't live in PA anymore. I moved to Florida because of the lifestyle, obviously. But I get constant emails from Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, looking to add me as an REO agent because they're expecting a glut of inventory to come out and they don't have enough agents to give it to. So that kind of tells you where things are heading. And that's why it's a great time to get into this now, to prepare, to understand, to learn, and be ready when that wave of foreclosures comes out, because prices on those are going to be dropping probably fairly quickly as inventory increases. So there's going to be some great opportunity coming up. And there could be some great buy and hold opportunity. Definitely going to be good fix and flip and great wholesale, virtual wholesaling opportunities out there.
Yeah. So also, guys, remember, it's about right time, right action, right?
Right.
So that's a really, really important principle. You can have the right action and it can be the wrong time, or it can be the right time and the wrong action. And what I hear Paul saying is you might just about see the right action, right time. So you might be listening to this and love all these qualities. And now he's coming in honestly with the cherry on top, going, not only are these the benefits of auction, but it's about to be a wave and a potential flood. So you might want to get ahead of that and be a part of it. So of course, Paul, you teach this. I don't know anyone else around the country that does it. I was really attracted to you for a couple of reasons. Number one, you and I have known each other for years. You're just an absolute stand-up guy. I don't want to bring anyone on the podcast that I don't trust at all. And you're one of those guys that just has such an incredible reputation. And number two, you've cracked the code on this. I mean, dude, you've been doing real estate since 2001, man. You're a veteran. You're doing 60 to 80 deals off of this. So this isn't experimental. This is a proven system. So if somebody's listening, they're interested, they just, again, want to have a phone call, see if this is a fit for them, et cetera, where do they go to find out more about this program?
So they're going to go to fliprealestatevirtually.com/Chris. That's fliprealestatevirtually.com/Chris. And they're going to get a discount. So through you guys, through Wholesaling Inc., it says $7,000. It is $5,500. And what they're going to get with that, obviously, is learning the auction process. We also teach them how to buy on MLS for sale by owners, how to buy from wholesalers and potentially market with and joint venture with wholesalers, which we do as well. But we also want to do more. What I'm trying to bring in, this business has like a 95% fail rate. And I think where people fail is like, there's people that have great programs to teach people how to wholesale, which is awesome. But then they wholesale, they make a ton of money, they blow this money, and they got this huge tax bill they owe to the IRS. So and they don't have the money to pay for it, right? So now they're constantly robbing from Peter to pay Paul. We're going to try to teach people how to set up the entities correctly. So we're bringing in experts for that, strategic tax management, insurance companies because you're buying these all over the country. So you don't want to have 50 different insurance companies you're dealing with. We teach you one. It's called Arcana for anybody out there, Arcana Insurance. They're tremendous. You can buy all over the country with them. So we're trying to bring experts in at least once, if not twice a month, to really teach them all different aspects of real estate and hopefully make them successful, because we don't like that 95% fail rate.
And again, that's why I like Paul. He could have stopped at just showing you how to do the auction, but he doesn't. He truly deeply cares about his students. And you guys know at Wholesaling Inc., we're a student first culture. And hey, thank you. Again, I'm saying it for the students by coming in and offering such a great discount. $1,500 is no joke. So thank you for that. And that's for you guys being a part of Wholesaling Inc. and being a part of the tribe as well. So Paul, thank you so much for coming on. Trey, dude, super proud of you, bro. Way to just do what you're doing, live your best life, compartmentalize. I mean, I feel like, man, you've got your stuff together, moving in the right direction. And man, I just hats off to you on how you've structured everything so far, man. So I'm really excited to follow you and see what happens in your journey over the next couple of years. And to the rest of you guys, as always, thank you. Oh yeah, 100%. And to the rest of you guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time when we add more value. Talk to you later.